So, I'm my teacher's biological son. And because she gave me up when I was a baby, and she's already married to a senator and has a couple of kids with him, she doesn't want anyone to know about me. Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm going to tell you about how I ended up getting paid $1,000 a day by my teacher. But before anything else, please, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell icon to show your support for me. I found out my teacher's, or should I say, my biological mom's secret, when I accidentally walked in on my adopted mom having a heated phone conversation one day. For the purpose of this story, I will refer to my adopted parents, mom and dad, and my biological mom, my teacher, or Paula, just to avoid confusion. Besides, my biological mother was never really my mom. My adopted mom raised me and loves me as much as any biological parent does their actual children. Way more than I ever got from my biological mother, at least. And to hide the identities of the people involved, so as to not get anyone in serious trouble, all names have been changed. I've never really heard my mom being that mad, so when I heard her speaking in a raised voice, I couldn't help but listen in. I just wanted to know what had gotten her so worked up.
And so what if he goes to the same school? Nobody said you needed to talk to him or tell him you're his mother.
My mom yelled into her phone. I couldn't really hear the person on the other line, but from what little I could hear, it sounded like she said something along the lines of,
"If John finds out about this..."
I froze when I recognized my teacher's voice. My mom groaned in response.
"John this, John that. Not everything revolves around John's bid for the White House. He's not even gonna be nominated. His own state hates him. What kind of mother are you? Don't you even want to see how he's doing? He's acing your class, for God's sake. Why do you care so little about your own son?"
At that, my mom hung up her phone, fuming. I couldn't help it. I had to ask. So I slipped out from the wall I was hiding behind and asked her what was up. And she was so frustrated, she didn't even try to hide the secret anymore. That night, I learned that my dad found me at work. He was a fireman at the time, and one morning, as he was getting ready for the day, he heard a baby crying outside the fire station. He rushed out and saw me just behind the fire truck in a little wicker basket. There was no note, not even for a name. What he did see was the retreating figure of my teacher as she ran away, and my dad instantly recognized her. They used to date in high school, see, and he could tell who she was in a crowd. From that point on, my mom and dad raised me as their own. They tried multiple times to talk to my teacher, but apparently I was born out of an affair that my teacher had with one of her senator husband's bodyguards. The senator didn't even know his wife got pregnant. My mom said my teacher quit her previous job and told everyone she was going on a sabbatical. For 9 months, she disappeared, and when she came back, she immediately dumped me at the fire station. She was so intent on keeping me a secret that she even threatened my mom and dad. Mom said Paula told them she'd use her husband's influence to make it tough for my dad's business. Since my dad retired from firefighting, he had opened up a consultancy. And after Paula had threatened them, they never brought me up again. But when I transferred to the school where Paula taught, trouble started again. Apparently, my teacher tried for years to get my parents to transfer me to a different school. She even tried to get me expelled. I was wondering why she was so harsh on me for the longest time. But because I was a hardworking student, her efforts were moot. I even ended up getting top marks in her class. My parents didn't want to give me back to her. The only reason my mom and dad wanted for us to meet was because they wanted her to at least acknowledge me, or at least see how I was doing. But Paula was not having it. She said if her husband found out, he'd divorce her. And if not, it would tarnish his career. And if there was one thing Paula was not parting with, it was the comfortable life she had as a senator's second wife. When I heard all of that, I didn't know what emotion to feel first. All at once, I felt unwanted and vengeful. I could probably look past the fact that my own birth mother gave me away. But to threaten the people who raised her son and provided a good life for him? That was twisted. And all kinds of messed up. So, I hatched a plan. If it meant so much for her to keep her secret, I was going to confront her about it and find out just how much exactly that meant in dollars. The next time I was in Paula's class, I just stared daggers at her. I wanted to watch her sweat. My mom hadn't told her that I knew, but I wanted to scare her a bit, make her squirm. I wanted her to have doubts. I wanted her to suspect that I knew. From my seat in the back row, I could see bullets of sweat running down her forehead the whole time. And she kept glancing up at me, then away, and then at her watch, as if she was counting the seconds until she could run from the torment of my stare. I enjoyed seeing her suffer. I hounded her the whole week, just to ramp up the tension. I told my mom not to answer her calls. I didn't want to give everything away just yet. And boy, did Paula call my mom. On the second day, she'd already received about 50 missed calls. She must have been very nervous by then. I could tell she was losing sleep over it because on that Friday, there were dark circles around her eyes. It was then that I decided to finally confront her. When the bell rang and my teacher hurriedly exited the classroom without even giving the class homework, I took the opportunity to slip past my confused classmates and followed her. She was really booking it. I caught up to her just before she rounded the corner, which led to the faculty room. "Why are you in such a rush, Miss Harding?" Her eyes were wide, and I could hear her hyperventilating. "I know why," I said, a glint of menace in my eyes.
I left the stove on at home," she attempted. I actually laughed out loud at that one. Seriously? A woman who can go as far as keep a child born out of infidelity a secret can only come up with that lame excuse? Pathetic.
I saw the fear in my teacher's eyes as her fears were confirmed. And when all she could do was stammer in response, I added, "Yeah, I know. I know you dumped me at the fire station. I mean, kudos to you for knowing what you value, Miss Harding. But, jeez, you're one ice-cold lady, huh?" My teacher took a sharp breath. And then, as her nostrils flared, she said,
"Fine. What is it? What do you want? Do you want my husband to help you get into a good college? Better grades? Is it money?"
I chuckled. She said exactly what I needed to hear. It just proved to me that she didn't care one bit for me, at all, if all she could think to offer me was material gain. I had no use for the first two options. I was doing fine just on my own efforts. So, with a smug look on my face, I asked her, "How much?" My teacher cackled.
There it is. It's always money with you people, isn't it?
"You people? Ha! That's rich, seeing as you gave birth to me," I retorted. Paula had no response. So I continued. "You proposed it. So, how much? How much is keeping your big extramarital secret worth to you?" My teacher rummaged through her bag and handed me a $100 bill. I looked down at it, looked back up at her, and laughed. Paula huffed. Then she fished out 4 more $100 bills. I was insulted. So I looked at her again with my eyebrow raised. "Seriously?" I said.
"Okay, fine," she exclaimed in frustration. "What's your account number?"
I gave it to her, and in a few seconds after she'd finished typing a bunch of stuff on her phone, I got a payment notification on mine. $1,000. I said, "Not bad. But you can do better. Unless you want me to send a very interesting message to the senator," I said, allowing Paula to panic as I paused. I began messing with my phone a bit to give her time to come up with a better offer. "Is he even on Twitter? I wonder how easy it would be to find a senator's contact info online."
"All right, fine," Paula exclaimed. "Put your phone away. I'll transfer 1,000 into your account every week. Just put your phone away and never, never threaten me again. You keep your mouth shut. You and I don't know each other. Are we clear?"
It was at that moment that the door to the faculty room opened and our principal's head popped out from behind the door. "What's with all the shouting?" Principal Graves asked us. For a second, It seemed as if Paula was about to suffer from a stroke. She was so scared that somebody else could have hurt us. But when the principal showed no signs of having understood our previous conversation, Miss Harding relaxed again.
Oh, nothing, Principal Graves, sir. It was just one of the second years running down the halls. Mr. Turner here was just asking about extra credit, and I was just about to tell him I could give him some extra schoolwork. That's what we were talking about, wasn't it, Mr. Turner?
I smiled at her. And then I smiled at our principal. Yes, I simply said.
And you agreed to the terms?
Asked Paula. I knew exactly what terms she needed me to agree to. And so I answered. Of course, Miss Harding. I'd be delighted. The first money I received from her, I used to buy my mom a moonstone ring that was surrounded by sapphires. The next day, as soon as the money cleared, I bought my dad the best lawnmower I could find. I always noticed how he'd eyed the fancy ones whenever we passed by the garden center. Then, I bought myself a new phone. Over the next few days, I saved up what she gave me and used that money for renovations to our house. I didn't spend anything the following 2 weeks. The money that I'd amassed, I'd give it all to my mom and dad for them to use however they wanted. I helped out with expenses and bought myself some stuff here and there. I eventually helped pay off my parents' mortgage. I'm still getting paid to keep the secret. All of it goes into savings now. But who knows? The secret might still come out.